This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1848, Comic Talk.
Go ahead.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Matt.
I'm Kevin Moyer.
I'm Ian Levinstein.
I'm Adam Murdo.
I'm Shane Kelly.
And I'm Chris Everly.
Matt was taken out of focus by the kaiju that came into the
Cameo by Gotti the Godzilla.
Well, I couldn't figure out if it was going to spark or scream or.
This is also, I think,
tongue.
This is also, I think, the first 6-person crew we've had in quite some time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Hey, the gang all here.
Wait, Adam and Comfort. That's right, but they were on one screen though.
And also since the Super Zoom, the one that started it all. After all.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody to the show. We got Matt, we got Kevin, we got everybody this episode. And it's happy to get the crew together as we get back in the spirit after a week off and get back some comic talk rolling here for everybody. And we do have a lot to talk about on this episode, one of which would be the Best of CGS Awards results, which we will get to shortly. But before we do indeed have a sponsor for this episode yet again. And it is once again Left Coast Love himself, Sean Wheatley. And he is selling his comic books on whatnot.com, which is one of the new auction services that's come out over the past couple of years. And this one is a lot more personable, and it's also a lot shorter than your typical auction website. Basically, you're watching Sean present the comics. He puts the auction up, and then you got about 2 minutes. Whoever wins, and you move on to the next product.
Wow.
And, yep. And Sean is trying to get rid of a lot of his reader copy comics that he has lying about. Stuff from the last couple of years, stuff from older than that. And his next bundle rumble that he's calling it on Whatnot is on May 2nd at 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. So once again, on May 2nd at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, you can head to whatnot.com. You can either search Sean's name, or you can head to the link that we'll have in the show notes or on the supergroup and check out what he has to offer. So once again, thank you so much, Sean, for listening for all these years, for keeping us laughing on the forums and the supergroup and what have you. And I hope you guys go check out his auction at whatnot.com. So excellent.
Right. Thank you.
Indeed.
Awesome.
Yep. Also, a quick note that we still have that Libsyn deal going. So if you put CGS free into your checkout when you sign up with Libsyn.com, you will get 2 months of hosting services free with Libsyn.com. We are officially partnered with them. And once again, that's CGS free, CGS FREE, to get those 2 months free. And of course, Patreon, because you guys are awesome. Patreon.com.
Yes.
Comic Geek Speak.
You're here.
You keep the lights on. You're amazing. And you're the best. Did I mention that you're awesome? Because you are. Patreon.com/Comic Geek Speak. All right. I've gotten all my stuff out of the way. So how about we deal out some awards?
Such as they are, yeah.
Excellent.
That's right, folks. It's time for the results of the annual CGS Best of Awards to be announced. And so all the nominations have been made, the ballots have been cast and tabulated and all that good stuff. And it's time to announce who won these coveted, largely non-existent awards that we intend to give out every year for the best in creators and comics and characters in a given year. This time, it's the best of 2021, and the envelopes are in hand. Have you gentlemen gotten the emails I sent you?
Yes, I have.
Mm-hmm. All right, good. Because yeah, I'm sorry, Matt and Kevin, I didn't realize you guys were going to be part of this episode. And there were 16 categories in which to award envelopes, and that doesn't divide evenly by 6 anyway. So
That's fine.
I gotta come over there and slap you now.
I'd take it like a man, Matt. I probably deserve it. All right, so we got awards to give out in 16 categories. Ian, no, wait, nope. I go alphabetically. So, Chris, I think you're the one who has the first one to give out Best New Hero or Team.
Yes. So the nominees were The Blue Flame, Geiger, Justice League Incarnate, and Radiant Black. And the winner is, long pause,
Insert drum roll here.
not going to get slapped in the face. All right, the winner is Geiger.
Ah, nice.
Yep, from
All right.
Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. That was the listener's choice. Just barely made it onto the ballot, and he walks away with a big prize. Although it was a tight race between all nominees.
Excellent. All right, moving over to Best New Villain or Villain Team that debuted in 2021. Your nominees are Adam Strange, Dr. Donald Blake, Heartless, and Hunter's Moon. And the winner is, I found a piece of paper, so here we go, envelope. The winner is Mr. Adam Strange. He's a villain now? What?
Well, he's got an award for being one anyway. Yeah, this one was actually a tie between Adam Strange and Donald Blake. So I, as administrator of this competition, ruled in favor of Adam Strange.
Fair enough.
Because I decided a while ago that ties are stupid and we're not going to have them in these awards anymore. And it's not that I prefer Adam Strange as a villain to Don Blake as a villain. It's just that it's kind of a technicality. Don Blake was actually reintroduced in 2020. And I was kind of bending the rules a bit to have him on the ballot in the first place. I justified it by saying he didn't really become active as a villain until comics that were published in 2021. But so it's for that reason that I named Adam Strange the winner of this award.
Murd is master of ceremonies. That's your God-given right.
Yes.
Appreciate it, sir.
I so dub thee the winner.
So there you go. Those of you who voted for Don Blake, your guy was actually right up there in the voting too, but he lost on a technicality.
The best way to lose on a technicality.
Yeah.
Matt, don't go up and slap Adam in the face now.
How many slapping jokes we're going to make?
As many as it takes, damn it. As many as it takes.
And all of a sudden, from stage left, the hand comes and slaps Adam in the face.
Where's your dad when I need him to be there, Adam?
What does it cost to get one of those Monty Python feet to stomp me down from the ground?
Oh, I need a large polo mallet. All right, anyway, go ahead.
It depends on how much paper mache you have lying around, basically.
It can't be that hard if they did that Adam West thing. They could easily edit that in.
Yeah, right.
All right, Shane, you have envelope number 3.
I do. Best new ongoing comic, first issue shipped in 2021. The nominees are The Marvels, New Burn, Radiant Black, and Superman, Son of Kal-El. ... And the winner is Radiant Black.
Yes. I imagine it was not a close race.
Actually, it was. Superman, Son of Kal-El was a close runner-up.
Okay. All right.
Oh, wow.
Good to know.
Kevin, have you tried Radiant Black by any chance?
No, but I definitely would like to, honestly.
You'll like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a little bit reminiscent of like classic Nova.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we're gonna do a book of the month, the first trade. You should join us.
Oh, sweet. Yes, I definitely will then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a trade man, so I'll definitely get that trade and I would love to join in.
Let us
Hey.
know.
All right, fourth award of the night, Best Limited Series. This is, as usual, it's a mini-series, the final issue of which shipped in the year 2021. The nominees there are Beta Ray Bill, Argent Star by Daniel Warren Johnston, The Defenders by Al Ewing and Jorge Jimenez, Kang the Conqueror by the group of guys who did that, and Strange Adventures by Tom King with art by Mitch Gerrards and Evan Doc Shaner. And the winner in that category, by a healthy margin, Strange Adventures.
Yes. Yes. Good choice all around on that one, because it is a pretty book.
Fine, challenging piece of work.
Yep. Excellent.
All right. Next up is where am I? I'm sorry. Best ongoing comic. No, I'm sorry. I'm best single issue one shot. I apologize.
There you go.
All right. The nominees are Crossover number 7, The Flash issue 776, The Flash Annual 2021, and Spider-Man Life Story Annual number 1.
Yes.
And the winner is Spider-Man Life Story Annual number 1.
Well deserved.
Nice.
Yes. Matt or Kevin, have either of you read Spider-Man Life Story yet?
No.
I have not. No, I have not.
Okay. Just so you get the gist of it, it's Spider-Man as if he was aging in real
Yes.
time, starting in the 60s and winds up in the 2010s. And this was a annual that came out after the initial limited series came out that focused entirely on J. Jonah Jameson during that time. And the very different life he went through because of, actual
The cost of his obsession plays out. Let's put it that way.
exactly.
That's Chip. Did Chip write that, the annual as well?
Yep.
Yep. But
Cool.
and Bagwell did the artwork on it as well.
Nice.
Yep.
Definitely worth checking out. I've heard those life stories have been very good reads.
They're
Yeah.
excellent.
Yep. Fantastic Four was very good too. Yep. All right.
So Spider-Man walks away with that one. And those of you who were pulling for The Flash, if you're worried that perhaps the two different issues of The Flash that were on the ballot in that category might have split the vote, Spider-Man Life Story Annual actually got more votes than both the Flash issues combined.
Wow. Oh boy. Well, there you go. Won it in a flash. All right. Moving over to best.
God, I missed you so much, honey. I missed you so much.
This is what happens when I go away for 2 weeks. All of a sudden, everything comes rolling back. All right. Best cliffhanger / moment we move over to here. Catwoman's old friend from Batman Catwoman number 1. The new Radiant Black, ominous. Radiant Black number 4. Alana Strange takes action in Strange Adventures number 11. And the winner, no matter what won, the true parentage of Adam X the Extreme in X-Men Legends number 1. Because damn it, I waited since the 90s for that. And the winner, pause. Alana Strange takes action in Strange Adventures number 11.
That makes sense.
And this Tom King, I think he's going to go places.
He's the breakthrough talent of
For the third year in that, yes.
here. Yes. But in the Ian verse, the winner is the true parentage of Adam X the Extreme.
Any day of the week. Any day of the week. Yep. I don't care if I was the only one who voted for that one. Damn it, it happened.
Yep. You were not the only one who voted for that.
Yay!
It's another guy.
And his name was Leon? No, okay. All right. He had a mustache instead of a beard. All right. It's a whole thing.
Mirror universe. All right, up to me for best storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Within a series or across multiple series. Nominees are Batman Fear State, Infinite Frontier / JL Incarnate, Nightwing Leaping into the Light, and Rebellion on the Run, the Star Wars titles. And the winner is Nightwing Leaping into the Light.
Good choice. Excellent.
have to-
Yes.
I'll have to read that because
We'll talk about that in a a little bit.
I have not read any of
And you
that.
inspired me.
Shane, you will love it. You will absolutely love it. Yep.
The contents of that volume inspired an outpouring of love from the voters this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
As it should have.
Tom Taylor is on a roll, and he is especially on a roll in Nightwing. That much
Wow.
is said. Yep.
Yep, that won the Best Storyline Award by a landslide. It received twice the votes of the runner-up.
Really?
Excellent.
Wow.
And so we move on to Best Sleeper or Surprise Hit of 2021. The nominees there were The Flash, by Jeremy Adams and Fernando Pasarin, I believe. The Frontiersman from Image, Primordial, and Stray Dogs. This is one DC book and 3 Image books. And the winner, The Flash.
Yes.
So, congratulations to Jeremy and for putting together a really fun, thought-provoking meat and potatoes superhero adventure comic.
Yep. some of the best Flash stuff that's come out in years. And mind you, I liked the Flash before this, but this is light years above and beyond that.
That's the Levenstein certificate of approval.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Best ongoing comic need not have begun publication in 2020. The nominees are Eternals, Iron Man, Nightwing, and Something is Killing the Children.
Something is killing the children.
I love how you go from like Borscht Belt to creepy, like whatever you are. Fantastic. All right. And the winner is Nightwing.
Yes.
Well deserved.
Yep. Iron Man was up there in the voting too, but Nightwing was the clear winner.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and sadly, Eternals was the rare goose egg. It got not a single vote.
Ah.
I know it's up against some stiff competition here, but seriously, folks, if you like the Marvel cosmic stuff and you have yet to find a reason to care about the Eternals as characters, do try the Eternal series by Kieran Gillen and Esad Ribic. It might just be the approach to the characters you've been waiting for.
You're here. Yep. Okay. Am I up next?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay. There we go.
Graphic
All right.
album?
Yes. Best graphic album, OGN, or collection. The nominees are Cuphead Volume 2, Cartoon Chronicles and Calamities. Monsters by Barry Windsor Smith. Reckless, Friend of the Devil. And You Look Like Death, Tales of the Umbrella Academy. And the winner, Monsters by Barry Windsor Smith.
Nice.
All right. A master gets his due.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Something that I think I'm going to have to add to my shopping list at some point here because I've never read or heard much of anything about this, but apparently our listeners like it, and that's good enough for me.
Amen.
It won by a healthy margin, but a few people actually did vote for Cuphead, so thanks for that.
Yes.
Okay. Best writer. Nominees were Christopher Cantwell, Tom King, Tom Taylor, and Chip Zdarsky. And the winner is Tom Taylor.
Yep. Wholeheartedly agree.
More love for Bloodhaven.
Yes, indeed.
Chip Zdarsky was the runner-up, by the by. And a fairly large field of nominees for the Best Artist of 2021 award. And they are Chris Baccello, Bilquis Eveli, Jorge Jimenez, Bruno Redondo, Andrea Sorrentino, and J.H. Williams III.
Wow.
It was a tight race, but by a nose, the winner is Jorge Jimenez.
Nice.
Great.
Artist on that excellent Defenders miniseries we keep praising.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great artist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Best writer artist. The nominees are Cliff Chang, Daniel Warren Johnson, Terry Moore, and J.H. Williams III. And the victor is Daniel Warren Johnson.
Another great choice.
Yep. Yep, we're going to have to check out that Beta Ray Bill miniseries he did because apparently it impressed a lot of our listeners.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, over to Best Color Artist. We've got Frank D'Armata, Javier Rodriguez, Greg Smallwood, and Dave Stewart. And the winner, Greg Smallwood.
Really?
Yes. Look at that color.
And it just kind of catches me off guard. I didn't know that he did much color artwork.
It's much more recent, but the stuff he's been doing on Human Target has been amazing.
Nice.
This is the book right here.
Yep.
I mean, I love him as an artist, but I was not aware that he was doing some color work. So
coloring over his own pencils on that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful book.
Good for him. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, best letterer. Nominees are Wes Abbott, Clayton Cowles, and Tom Napolitano. Did I say that right?
Napolitano.
Napolitano. And the winner is Clayton Cowles.
Small field in the letterer category this year, but Cowles won handily by More than 3 times as many votes as the nearest vote getter.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep. And, this is the second year in a row that he's won that Best of award.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially for the work he does on X-Men, like it's well worth it for that because of all the different styles of lettering that have to go into an X-Men book these days. It all works beautifully.
And home stretch here, folks. The final award of the night: Breakthrough Talent of 2021. We promise it's not Tom King. But here are the people it might be: Jeremy Adams, Raffaele Iengo, Stephanie Phillips, Pornsak Pichetsot, and Greg Smallwood. And the winner, Greg Smallwood.
Yes.
Just a few issues into that Human Target miniseries.
That's enough. That's enough.
A lot of folks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. And now that he has been a breakthrough talent, he can no longer be a breakthrough talent. Okay. Pointing that out to everybody, okay? All right.
Murd, once again, thanks for taking the helm on this. It's always a real hoot.
Now, it's my pleasure, guys. This is always a great deal of fun for me, too. It's nice to know what our listeners have been reading, so we learn from them, they learn from us.
Yeah.
I mean, we gave out these imaginary awards to only a few people. We're all winners tonight.
Exactly.
Thank God he didn't say wieners.
Don't give me ideas.
Hot dog. All right.
All right.
Dog, hot diggity dog.
All right. So let's move from that to some comics news, or at least comics related news, and we can get into further comic talk from there. This past week, the merger officially occurred between Warner Brothers and Discovery. So now HBO and Discovery are under the same umbrella. It's basically they're going to merge the two services into an HBO Max Discovery Plus like hybrid thing soon. But what matters most is that Warner Brothers itself is under that umbrella, and they're exploring an overhaul of DC Entertainment, which would include the movies, the comics, and the shows as part of this Warner Brothers, reorganization, as it were. And once this happens, there's even a chance of it getting sold. That's just hearsay at this point. But like, analysts and experts have gone out to say, like, yeah, when you do an overhaul like this, you're often overhauling it to then unload it somewhere else. So it's,
Jeez.
yeah, that would certainly be a change to see DC somewhere other than Warner Brothers after all these years.
Yeah.
Maybe Disney will buy them.
I was just thinking that same
Oh
thing.
my God.
No.
It should not happen. No. I mean, I'm a Disney stockholder. I would probably be enriched by this, and I do not want it to happen.
That doesn't mean it's not possible.
It would be too much, honestly. It would be way too much under the same umbrella, and especially when it comes to comics. Like, I don't want Marvel publishing Superman comics, which would essentially be the case. Like, that's
Yep.
even if it almost happened in the '80s. Like,
Yep, that's right. It almost did.
yeah, yep.
Not to get too far off of a tangent. If that would happen,
Yeah.
do you think they would just merge the two universes, or they would basically just say, like how they do Star Wars and Marvel? This is the Marvel side. This is the DC side. They exist on their own. We're not going to have cross pollination.
That's what I hope.
I think
If
they
it-
do an Earth 1, Earth 2 kind of thing. Kind of like what we saw in
Yeah.
one of those issues of the JLA Avengers miniseries, where
Yeah.
the Avengers and JLA like crossed over once a year. They had like group barbecues and mixers and things. And-
Yeah.
But yeah,
That-
I don't think they'd
that's-
merge them all into a single universe.
No, I think that would disappoint a lot of people.
It would also clutter
Yeah.
things way too much because I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
there would literally be too many superheroes running around the same universe. That wouldn't
Yeah.
make sense.
And it overstuffed the theme park too.
Oh,
I'm sure they would just build another one.
Plus, Great Adventure would then lose all of its rides. So
Yeah.
Well, no, they would just pay Disney for their rides.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I was going to
Yeah.
say though, it
just like
totally,
Universal.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just going to say it completely depends on whatever contract they sign because the
Yeah.
entire
Yeah.
reason why Universal still has Marvel character runs
Islands of Adventure. Yeah.
at Islands of Adventure is because they signed a contract essentially in perpetuity with Marvel back in the day. Like there's really no expiration upcoming. So anything that they built back then is theirs unless they decide they don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
which is why they're able to do Guardians of the Galaxy over at Epcot, because Guardians was never part of that deal. So that's one of the things that's stopping Disney World from having, you know, like a Spider-Man ride or what have you.
Don't they have that Avengers campus?
They
That's
do.
down in California.
That's California. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely separate deal, completely separate situation. Like Universal only has a deal for Florida,
Yeah.
not for the rest of their parks. Yeah.
I got you.
But also this may very well affect, you know, the way the movies are happening and the way the shows are happening over at you know, DC as well, because, you know, new bosses essentially.
Did anything come across about the existing shows being canceled yet? Like just in normal renewal talk?
There still has
CW?
there still has not been a renewal for Legends of Tomorrow. That has not come through. Naomi, I think they're waiting on until they give it an official renewal. I could be wrong though; it may have been renewed for season 2. Flash has at least one more season, but then it's probably going to end after that. Superman and Lois got renewed. Am I forgetting anything? I'm sure.
Stargirl.
Stargirl definitely has season 3. That I remember. And that's, you know, already in the pipeline, so they can't, like, you know, take it out from us and be like, nope, not anymore. So that's you know, that's at least still happening, but with everything changing,
Yeah, who knows?
Exactly.
You know, Ian, you raise a good point in that. In any kind of corporate situation, whenever there's new bosses, they have to leave their imprint.
Yes.
Exactly.
So, and sometimes that imprint can be disastrous.
Mm-hmm.
Other times, occasionally you get like an inspired approach but more often than not, people like that aren't really very inspiring. But you know, we'll see.
It's
I'll hold my breath.
Yeah. I mean, we honestly don't know until we know. That's the type
Yeah.
of situation that we're in right now. What we do know, at least, is right before we started recording here, it's Cinemacon this week, and Warner Brothers just had their panel, and at that panel, the Batman 2 was officially announced.
Oh, okay.
By Warner Brothers. So that's officially happening. That's in the pipeline. I don't think there's a year yet for when it's happening, but Matt Reeves is definitely attached for it. And they'll be moving forward with that sub universe with the Batman franchise.
Nice.
Yep.
Good for them.
Yeah. Has everybody on this call seen it at this point? Kevin, Matt, have you guys gotten a chance to watch it?
Yes, I've watched it twice already, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, me too.
I'll see it at some point. I wasn't really interested in seeing it, but I'm sure when it's on like TNT or something like that, and I'm scrolling through, even on HBO Max, I'll see bits of basically most of the DC EU movies I saw from they were on TNT or something, and I think Suicide Squad I've seen almost the whole thing, but that's been in 12 different points where I just jumped in for a couple minutes and pieced it together.
Nice. Yeah, and I'm sure it will be on, you know, like regular cable sooner than later, one way or the other. Yeah. The other things that I'm looking forward to, honestly, out of DC, they showed some footage for both the upcoming Shazam movie and Black Adam at CinemaCon as well. And those are the two that I can't wait for. Like those.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those.
I'm definitely looking forward to Black Adam. I'm hoping that is a breakout, you know, win smash, great JLA, you know, presentation. I mean JL. Yeah, not JLA.
JSA.
JSA, yeah. Thank you. I'm very much looking forward to that. So I'm hoping that those translate very well onto screen.
Do you think the Batgirl and Blue Beetle that were supposed to be movies for HBO Max are going to, I guess there's talks now, those will be on the big screen?
Yeah.
Instead of the...
It's possible. Batgirl, I could see them doing on the big screen, to be honest with you, because I mean that has the star caliber to happen. That
Yeah,
right.
And they're currently filming that too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of stuff in that Batgirl series that is gonna essentially come after this you know, Flash movie, which has now been pushed back even further.
Right. I think the Flash movie was supposed to come out first, and that was supposed to help bring you into this Batgirl. I guess basically Michael Keaton. But
Yeah.
now supposedly Batgirl might be after the Flash again. They might move. I don't know. There's been some.
Why was
I
the
saw about
Flash
that.
delayed yet again, Ian? Do we know?
Oh boy.
Ezra Miller.
Yeah, it's his fault.
So once upon a time, there was a man named Ezra Miller.
Okay.
Now, this is not the only reason that it got delayed. I believe just straight up the production, typical COVID production delays and all that are also a culprit here. But Ezra Miller, unfortunately, clearly has some issues. And he's been arrested multiple times in the past couple of weeks. Like it's
the past couple of weeks.
The past couple, yeah.
It's like the second time he's been arrested in Hawaii now, and now they have a restraining order against him. Yeah, I mean it's but it's up in comics, so
it's rough. And frankly, they've already put enough into this movie where it's clearly still going to happen. But if these
has the movie been shot fully?
Almost entirely.
Pretty much,
Yeah, it's almost.
I thought it was shot. I thought it was finished filming, and
I think it was, Kevin, but there might have been a couple of hiccups that still had to be done. Like,
I would imagine there are. I'm going to presume that it's going to be a lot more now. There's talk of possibly, he could actually be eliminated from the movie.
Yeah, they're going to have him run so fast that all of a sudden he's a different person. That's that.
Well, isn't that a storyline in the original where Barry Allen went into the future and he had his face plastic surgery? I don't think.
That's true.
I'm sorry, Evan came in.
Nothing to be sorry about.
There's enough time. I think they should move things, because how is he going to be able to do press for the movie with this stuff kind of hanging out there? So either your lead star isn't doing press for this big multi-million-dollar movie, or you gotta. And how many scenes does he wear in a mask? So they can almost work around that a little bit,
right?
The problem is, Matt, from what I've seen from this trailer, there's at least 2 different Ezra Millers in the movie.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
So
the technology that they have nowadays, you know what I mean? It's very feasible for them to not have to do major, reworks, it is. I mean, and then with the upheaval of the whole business end of it, yet besides, and there's so many variables right now, anything can really happen. And as long as it's not the Henry Cavill mustache thing, it could be all right.
Nothing quite like mustache removal that as a have to be in a movie. That's just great.
At this point, with everything going on, I mean, to me, it's just like, well, anything could happen at this point. So
you're right. Yep. Yeah, because as long as that release date keeps getting moved back,
always more of a chance of it disappearing.
So I'm not going to be sordid and go into all this, because I'm always at it when it comes to stuff. So I'm reading what has been going on. Oh my god.
Yeah.
My god, dude.
I fully expect that he will be eliminated from the movie. That's what I expect.
I think the movie is going to come out and there's going to be an extra credits scene, like at the end of the movie, like an end credits scene that's just going to essentially wipe him from existence and have him be replaced by either Grant Gustin or like some other person, as Flash, and then that's going to be that. Because again, this movie's coming out on June 23rd of next year.
Right.
You can't reshoot all that. Well, okay, you could, but like I'm sure most of the CGI is already done or close to done. Like they're in final stages on this thing, because they've been working on it for years now.
But if you think about it, so let's just say he just has the 2 roles.
Yeah.
How many of those do you just essentially shoot from like over the shoulder of somebody else? So you don't necessarily have to shoot as many scenes as you need to. You just have to be crafty on how maybe they CGI the mask on more often, so that you don't necessarily hit. Is it going to be costly? Probably. In the long run, could it be more fruitful to spending that little money? Potentially. But I think they could find ways around shooting less than you would think if they would replace the actor. But whether or not they would actually be willing to pull that trigger, whether or not they'd be able to pull that ripcord, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I
that's,
don't know. I don't know that it would get to that extent. I think, with the technology that you have nowadays, I mean, you see these videos and such where you can take a celebrity's face and put that onto, Joe Schmo's face, in the video, and it literally morphs to their expressions and everything. So, I think that with that technology, they could easily replace him, with just doing reworking the CGI. So that doesn't require having to set up location shoots and studio shoots and all that stuff. So I mean, it really isn't that extensive of a process to eliminate his face from the movie.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, more than anything else, though, I just hope he gets the help that he needs, and that he, basically, whether it takes getting out of the public eye for a little bit and just getting his act together, like getting in jail twice in like 3 weeks is not a good sign for your mental health.
This isn't the first time either. I mean, last year he was in trouble, similar type of thing. So I mean, he definitely has some things to work out, and I agree. I hope he does as well before it becomes, something much bigger. Yeah, exactly. So,
well, the Fantastic Beasts franchise, I'm sure, was absolutely thrilled that this happened like right before release of that most recent movie, because Ezra Miller was a very big part of the most recent Secrets of Dumbledore, and then the movie came out, and I saw it, and it was all right. It was not great, but it was better than the last one, at least. I'll just leave it at that. The entire franchise is a mess at this point and just needs to be either rebooted or just ended. It's a cash cow for Warner Brothers, but it made less than any other Harry Potter movie to date. So maybe they'll take the hint and arrest for a little while.
Now let me ask you guys in the essence of the Flash thing. I mean, I've seen people kind of immediately saying like, "Oh, put Grant Gustin in." Is that would be a general consensus that's what you guys would prefer to do, or you prefer to have somebody else?
Yes and no, because I mean, well, even going into this, like the whole point of this movie, from what we know, because obviously the movie's not out yet, is hey, remember Ben Affleck Batman? Well, now he's Michael Keaton. Like basically, like whatever world reset is going to wind up happening in this movie, clearly Michael Keaton Batman is going to be the Batman of the main DC universe outside of Batmanson over in his own universe. Like that's the way that's going to work. You could easily do the same thing with the Flash. Like it doesn't even have to be Grant. It could be another actor. It could be any other person that they feel fits the role right. Like I mean, I'm a huge Grant Gustin fan, but he just played the Flash for 8 years. Who's to say he's even going to want to?
Right. Yeah, that's how I perceive it. I would be like, he's done a great job with the TV show that has been profoundly well received and accepted. But I'd be like, I don't know that I would want him to take over that role in the theatrical versions. I think that would be more befitting to give it to another actor. And so nothing against him at all, but it'd just be kind of a personal preference kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
and I'd be fine if he showed up in a scene here or there from another Earth, but. Yeah, I'd almost rather have somebody else come in and do it and put their spin on it for cinema universe.
Yep.
Somebody had posed a question if they thought that anybody had heard if they were going to include a cameo of Christopher Reeve Superman in that movie, since they were including.
Yeah, I heard that too.
It's a possibility. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. Yeah. I definitely wouldn't.
A holographic Tupac Shakur. I mean, you can obviously do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I asked that because of I'm sorry, Matt, but I guess I asked that just to. I revere that film, Chris. I know you as well, obviously.
Oh, yes.
And we all enjoy that movie. Would you accept that if they did that? Or do you think that's kind of like? That's taboo. They shouldn't.
I think it depends on how they present it.
Yeah, how it's done. I mean, how they fit it into the story.
Yeah.
Is it tasteful, or is it just being done for?
Yeah, if it's just done for
gratuity,
shock value,
I mean, it depends. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if they just slip in some archival footage of Christopher Reeve when he was alive, that's one thing. If they do like CGI zombie Christopher Reeve, like they did in say Star Wars Rogue One with Moff Tarkin,
I
don't want to see that happen ever again.
Yeah. Yeah, and frankly, I mean, it wouldn't even be the first time they did that with Superman archival footage, because I mean, having Brando be in, Superman Returns was a perfect example of that. Like,
Yes.
if you use archival footage right, then it could very well come out as very tasteful and just respectful. So
Krypton.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I was going to say before this Ezra Miller stuff came out, the movie was already delayed. So I can't imagine that the studio had this premonition that he was going to screw up and we need to delay this. So there's a part of me that wondered, based on the numbers, everyone has seen that's going to see it, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
Did they look at the way that was received by bringing back the prior Spider-Man, going, we still have time that we could work in, we have more of a history with characters than just that Spider-Man movie. We could go back further and pull something with Christopher Reeve. So let's push it out even further, because now we have more time to tinker a little bit and give something that fans will be as pleased with as they were by seeing Toby and Andrew back.
I'm gonna go even a little bit further there, Matt, and say it's possible that they saw Spider-Man No Way Home and thought to themselves, this is a lot like Spider-Man No Way Home. Maybe we should delay it.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're not the executives. We don't know what happened. Like, we don't know the people behind the film or what have you. But like, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, idea here. Multiverse. Like, getting in there, like old characters and changing things up. And what's this Flash movie that at one point was called Flashpoint going to be? Multiple universes, old characters you haven't seen in a while, changing things up. Like, it's it's very, very similar.
I like, there was a conspiracy theory going around that Feige put in Flash Thompson, who was carrying a book, Flashpoint, as an FU to the DCEU.
I believe it.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I believe it.
I wouldn't put it past them. Meanwhile, over in Sony, Cinemacon yet again this week officially announced Venom 3. So that's happening. So there's going to be a third Venom, and also
So many unanswered questions from 1 and 2. Right?
Oh yes, absolutely. What else is he going to eat? How many different times is he going to slobber all over the apartment while making breakfast? Like, so many unanswered questions. A sequel to the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie is coming. I'm actually looking forward to that because I enjoyed Ghostbusters Afterlife.
I did too.
Quite a lot.
I did too. I'm very curious to see how they do it. What characters are in it? If the kids come back, I'm just, based on how it ended, I'm just curious what.
Well, because
the
they're
next
making you
step
think
is.
that Winston was going to form a whole new squad.
Yeah,
So-
in New York with the equipment and everything the kids did is just okay for that one movie, but none of them are showing up again. Like, I kind of hope something ties them into it, since it is their grandfather and all.
I think you'll see some of the kids, but you're not going to see all the kids. I think it'll be like one of those things, like maybe even the older ones you'll see maybe as part of this new Ghostbusters squad.
The girl was sensational. I hope they at least.
Oh,
have her
yeah.
in it.
Yeah. She was terrific. I loved her. Yeah, she was so good. But here, ladies and gentlemen, is the pinnacle of news that came out of this one. Sony is making a El Muerto movie starring Bad Bunny.
Who?
Wait, what the hell is this?
Apparently, he was only in 2 issues of Spider-Man. I found out. I've never heard of the character before, so it must be something recent.
I have heard of the character before, but I was well aware that he was only in 2 Spider-Man issues. El Muerto is basically a lucha libre villain.
Okay.
Of Spider-Man. And Bad Bunny is, one of the biggest, pop idol stars of both the Hispanic world and the, and the world period right now. He's freaking wrestling in WWE and like he's everywhere. I'm actually going to a concert of his in Orlando in August. Like that says like how much he's doing that I would even go to a concert, period, let alone a Bad Bunny concert. But yeah, El Muerto. I believe Sony was like, hey, Bad Bunny, you're popular. You want to do a Spider-Man movie? He was like, sure. What character do you want to be? He was like, I don't know. like, okay, how about El Muerto? Okay, and that's how that conversation went.
Sony needs to give the toys back to Marvel. Get it.
I wish they
But
would
did you see
too.
the meme response to that announcement?
No, I didn't.
They said, "Oh, and a follow-up announcement," and they showed the picture of the pigtailed girl with glasses on the school bus that denied Tobey Maguire the bus seat.
Oh yes.
Sony announces the girl who denied Peter the bus seat, starring the girl who denied Peter the bus seat.
I mean, hey, at least we have this great Mike Wieringo artwork of El Muerto, so that places, you know, when he was around. It was
Gotcha.
right around Iron Spidey era, like right around Civil
That was
War.
like the Sensational Spider-Man run.
I believe so. Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's exactly when it happened. I mean, look, I haven't seen Jared Leto's Morbius, nor will I until it's available for me to see it for free. But I don't know what Sony's doing anymore.
Do you think they'll have to change the logo on his forehead like they did the Punisher? Because, like, you know,
Possible.
They probably will, actually. That wouldn't surprise me.
dear Lord.
Oh boy. So yeah, that's the movie announcements that have been coming out over the past couple of weeks. Who here saw the Thor: Love and Thunder trailer?
I did.
I did.
I loved
Come
it.
on, Matt, admit it.
I saw it. I watched it.
You ain't shitting nobody.
Hey, Kevin, I know how you felt about the last one. I'd love to see what you thought about this trailer.
Do you really need me to answer that question?
I already know the answer.
Honestly, until the last scene of the trailer,
Yeah,
there's nothing in it that really appeals to me at all.
fair.
But when I saw the final scene, I mean, that aspect of it, I am looking forward to, honestly. I think that storyline, I am anxious, and not anxious, but I am anticipating seeing that version, that story.
Mhm.
I'm not, everything else they showed, I was like, this is just, you know.
Well, I think you have to. What's the name of the director again, Ian?
It's Taika
Taika
Waititi.
Waititi.
Right. So, like the last Thor film, which I enjoyed, but you know, they're clearly letting I can't just brain fart on the name of the actor who plays Thor. Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
He definitely has comedic chops, and they're clearly letting him explore that. Because you saw that in the last film too.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think
Yeah.
it kind of depends on how you like your Thor. Like if you want, you know, Wagnerian, you know, old school Thor,
Mhm.
this interpretation isn't necessarily going in that direction.
Oh, sure.
I mean, if you kind of like what the actor has done with the character in the films, because he's brought a lot of humor into it, then it's probably going to be a lot of fun. But I can understand where Kevin's coming from. I mean,
you know,
Go ahead.
in saying so, I mean, I've enjoyed some of the films that he's done, and also obviously in the subsequent Avenger movies. But you know, like that last movie was just kind of such a drastic departure, in my opinion. And there were some good bones in that movie. It wasn't a horrible movie, but it just seems to, I don't know. I don't want to say coerced, but it's just you can tell that they're directly focusing on doing their interpretation of the character, and
Yeah.
and I can understand the influences that present that, but yeah, it just gets a little too outlandish for me, and I lose interest.
That's fair. And frankly, you're far from the only one. I mean, I know plenty of people who, you know, prefer, and I know people on this podcast as well that also prefer the more grounded. Hi, Murd. It's the more grounded take on the character, like the one that's a little bit more faithful to the original comic books and a little bit more Shakespearean in its play and you know, otherworldly, as it were. Rather than the humorous aspects that have been introduced in the past couple of films.
Well, I think if they really go to the spirit of the Jason Aaron storyline, which is a great storyline,
Exactly.
you know, of Jane becoming Thor, I think the movie could really maybe, you know, satisfy more people in that sense. It just depends on how they do it. I mean, we don't know how much of that's even going to be in the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have to wait and see.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
It comes across to me as like they're going along the lines, and obviously you see it in this movie with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm just like, it's too, I don't know, formulaic and repetitive and redundant, I should say, in that aspect of it. Guardians was befitting, and that was very successful, and those are enjoyable movies. And now it seems like they're trying to kind of reiterate and recreate that into Thor into that realm as well, and it just seems like shoehorning and trying.
The only thing I think that's a good point. The only thing I would say, maybe it depends on when the movie comes out, what we see, but Thor does have a grand cosmic tradition where he does a lot of adventures in space.
Oh, sure.
So we have to see how they interpret that. But Ian, that image, look at that image.
That's beautiful.
Wow, that walked right out of the book.
Yeah.
And if I saw some behind the scene pictures of her, she's buffed up like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, wow, she's really put effort in here.
And frankly, I don't think we're gonna have a movie without a lot of Jane Foster in it, because it took a lot to get Natalie Portman to say yes.
Exactly.
Because she had moved on from this role, and
Right.
Taika, had the conversation with her along with Chris Hemsworth, and was like, look, we have a story that we'd love to tell, and you're the one that we want to tell it with. We don't want to recast. We want it with you. And she clearly signed on and said yes, and this is the Jane Foster that we're going to get. And I think I would be very disappointed if it's not heavy on the Jane Foster when we do actually get it.
Yeah.
Right.
Do we know if Loki's in this movie?
We do not.
Not
Okay.
yet.
There has been no.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been very tight-lipped outside of who
Okay.
the villain is. The villain's going to be Gore the God Butcher, Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Well,
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone, I'm seeing the film because he's one of the greatest actors alive.
Oh,
So,
sure. Yep. And
Yeah. So there is pluses here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yet another actor who's now been in both Marvel and DC. Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of Ragnarok either. When I heard that what Taika Waititi was using as a sizzle reel to get the job was Big Trouble in Little China, scenes from that.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, that movie to me was kind of kooky, but it had a nice balance. And I just thought Ragnarok needed like 20% less of the humor that we wound up getting.
Mhm.
I thought the nice balance of what we've seen from Thor the last couple of years was actually in Infinity War, where you did have some comedy, but I thought it still seemed there was still some of the first couple movie version in the character, and then Endgame kind of just kind of continued. And so I saw the trailer, and I don't know. This will probably be another one, just like, well, I haven't seen Eternals yet, but at some point I'm going to see it on Disney Plus. I'll probably wind up seeing this on Disney Plus as well. I'm kind of at this point, I'm getting more choosy of what I'm actually going to go to the theater to see,
Right.
and the immediacy of seeing it. And this is one that when I heard they were doing, I was like, Taika's coming back. I mean, I liked what was that? Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah,
that worked.
Great movie, excellent movie,
fantastic.
excellent
This
movie.
one kind of like, if I see it Disney Plus when it's free, I can just wait for that.
Go ahead, Ian.
I was just going to say, it's hilarious that you said that, Matt, about being more choosy with your films. Meanwhile, I just signed up for AMC A-List because they were doing an introductory 99-cent month, and here in New York, it costs $25 a month to be a member, and that's two movies here in New York, because New York prices are $17, $18 for a movie. So as long as I go to the movies twice in a month, I've paid for it. And especially with this upcoming slate of movies, the next couple of months, I figured, why not give it a shot? And now I can literally go to the movies, at least 3 times in a week. That's the deal. And there will be weeks that I go twice in a week. I know myself, like, hey, there's not, like, I have off from work today, 10 a.m. showing of Doctor Strange for the 3rd time. Why not? Like, it's
You can start a podcast at a theater in a meet.
Exactly. There you go. So that's it's just funny that I literally went the complete opposite direction of you. What were you gonna say, Chris?
Oh no, I was going to comment. We talk about Ragnarok, so I enjoyed the film, but I do get where Kevin and Matt are coming from. The trick about Thor, when you're portraying him in other media like a movie, because the character is so grounded in like Norse mythology and grandeur and glory in the comic, especially like the Kirby period, Walt Simonson, etc.,
Yeah.
and to translate that into a mass consumer film, I'm just wondering if the studios are kind of a little intimidated by that. Like in the first movie, which Murd and I both loved, they really, I think, went hard on trying to do the Thor of the comic book.
Yeah.
And I loved it, but maybe they felt, I'm talking on my butt. I don't know. Maybe they felt that would not necessarily translate completely with the general audience. So and maybe Hemsworth wanted to do more humor too, because he's genuinely funny.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that's just like the direction where they went. One thing I would say about Ragnarok that I really did not like was the dismissive dispatching of the Warriors 3.
I agree.
Yeah.
That actually irked me. Like I was like, oh come on, those are great characters. You can't. That's all you're going to do with them. Like I didn't care for that at all.
Yeah.
I do think Lady Sif is supposed to return for this.
She is. Yes.
Yeah.
Fourth one.
It would be nice because
It's
she
about
was
time. Yeah.
ushered off stage unceremoniously during that movie too.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And for that matter, there's even been talk of Hogan finally showing up. And I don't know if that's actually.
Do you mean Balder?
Oh, sorry, Balder. My mistake.
Yeah, Hogan they killed.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like because Balder's the one that really hasn't actually been
Yes.
on screen yet.
True.
So if we do get him, that'd be pretty cool. But
Oh
That
yeah.
would be cool. I agree with that. That I do agree.
Yep. All right, I think that's all the movie talk. How about we talk comics? On a comic talk, what a concept!
All right, Ian, I gotta talk about this
Please, and I'm glad you are.
because I always trust your judgment. And like right after we had the discussion, I went to my local shop and I bought this. I consumed it rapaciously in one sitting.
Nice.
I'm sitting on my bed. I had taken a day off, and I'm just sitting there with my dog in bed reading Nightwing. And I by the end of it, I was hopping out of bed, alarming my dog, just like doing like a little dance of fanboy joy. And it's those rare moments when you experience a comic by creators who are at the absolute top of their game.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not read Nightwing regularly since like the Chuck Dixon, Scott McDaniel era.
Oh wow.
Like, that's a long time ago, and I've only read the character sporadically since then at best.
Yep.
And all I say is, if you know like the essence of the Dick Grayson character and the history, this for me is the best, and I'm not using that word loosely, the best version of Nightwing I have ever read in a comic.
Yeah.
They go right to the core of the character, his dynamic with Bruce, with Alfred, which is pivotal to the whole arc.
Certainly.
And Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel the weight of the history between those characters, and the way I mean, the art is mind-blowing, first of all, but the way Taylor has such a command of the character of Dick Grayson, the way he speaks, his interaction with the different characters, like he knows this character just top to bottom.
Yep.
And it's I can understand why people voted for this, because I had not read this at all until you recommended it. And frankly, if I'd read it last year, I probably would have nominated it for something, because it is just an absolute joy to read. Shane, have you read this?
No, not at all.
Oh,
I'm actually
you will eat this up, man. This is
trying to see
Wow.
if it's on the app or not.
It is. Yes. I've read the first 6 issues of the arc on the DC Infinite app, and I think they have up to possibly, I think, the first 8 issues of the arc now on the app. So you can definitely read it on there. And one thing that you will love, Shane, and I'm sure you agree, Chris, they brought the Bat family back.
oh yeah,
Like,
Really?
absolutely.
Just to square one. Like,
Oh, they're
Bat-
like texting each other, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
great, like they're ribbing each other, like you
Yep.
really feel, that's a great point. You really feel the weight of the family,
Yeah.
and how much they mean to, and how they rely on each other,
Yep.
and they really explore also how, Bruce, because Bruce is in many ways a very dysfunctional person, and they really go into like his role in like all of their lives, but for me, the real star of the book is exploring his relationship with Alfred.
Yeah.
I mean, through flashbacks, and it's so well done. I felt like I was home when I was reading this book. These are the moments where like I love comics.
And Bruno Redondo, baby. Bruno freaking Redondo, like the best artist in comics right now. Like bar none. That says a lot. It really does.
I'd put a certain Smallwood up there too, honey.
Well, Smallwood's like 1 and 2 with me right now.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like it's just the the sense of design.
No, it's amazing. Look at that cover.
Yeah.
Come on. And the villain is interesting too, like creepy.
Yep.
Heartless. This goes through issue 83. What is the book up to now? Do we know in terms of floppies?
It is up to, it's at least up to 85 on the app.
See, I'm actually
it's got to be well past that by now.
I'm on the DC site right now, so let me see what
it's got to be like 88 or 89.
I believe you're right on that one, yeah. Because the app is what, 6 months behind now, if I remember correctly.
I can't remember if it's 3 or 6.
Yeah, but there's definitely at least another 6 issues in your to come.
I'm looking forward to the next trade and Ian, I have such faith in your judgment. I said, fudge it, I'm splurging. It's the hardcover. It's all they have. I bought it. So happy I did. It was some of the best $25 I've ever spent.
Nice.
Fantastic.
I'm beyond thrilled you loved it, Chris. I figured you would, but it's top of the list. It's so good.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, and especially for Shane. So
Target, baby.
I'm what am I? They have 6 out. I think I'm up through issue 5.
All right, Shane. Because again, it's a black label, but this is not your granddaddy's Guy Gardner.
That's issue 6, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't read that one yet. I have it.
This is the most exciting book I'm reading in a monthly format. I think it's going on hiatus for a while, actually.
It is.
Yeah, they're doing it in the season 1, season 2.
Okay. Well, boy, did they end it on a cliffhanger? Oh my God! But the sense of design we've talked about in this book. That's why I nominated him in a couple of different categories for our awards. But this is very hard for me to say because I so revere everything he's done. This may be the best thing Tom King has done yet in comics.
Wow.
And it has a classic noir feel, in that you're not sure what the motivations of some of the characters are. The art is I almost weep when I look at because it's so awe-inspiring what this guy is doing in this book with his artwork. The sense of design, it kind of takes you back to like this almost like this early 60s feel. You see the character Ice in ways you never would have imagined before. Guy Gardner is just Shane, you know how Guy Gardner is always kind of portrayed almost like this overgrown adolescent.
Oh yeah. But and sometimes he's an outright jerk.
Well, they take that and they put that kind of personality into like a real world situation where he's like this overgrown adolescent who's an adult who has these awesome powers. Mm-hmm. And it's not good at all. Yeah. And they explore, and all I'll say is they explore the fact that let's say he's never really accepted the fact that she doesn't want to be with him anymore. And I'll leave it at that. That's
what it seems like, because there's that issue in the middle there where he was just relentlessly hounding them.
Well, you got to read issue 6.
And seeing that cover, I'm thinking, oh my God, he's going to go off the rails.
Yeah, it's the black label is well deserved here.
Okay.
But now, this is easily one of the best books out today, bar none.
And I know I said this before, when I'm reading this book, I hear from Chase's monologue, I hear Bob Bailey as Johnny Dollar. So if you've never heard that radio drama, just go and Google it, listen to a few minutes of it. That's just what I hear. Very noirish, like you said, Chris.
Yeah.
I like that he's using the Justice League that I love, but at the same time, I don't want it to be the same universe as Justice League. Like,
well, it's a black label, so I don't know if that's
I'm
how they're
thinking it's
it.
Not. It's just like a self-contained story. I don't want it to ever be shown that these are the same characters from that time, because some of them are very off, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're still written very well, but not the way I would like them written. But it's a great story.
It's clearly based in the general history of that team and those characters. Have you read up to 6?
No, I've gotten through 5.
Okay. All right. Okay. I won't say any more, but you that may be the case. You have to read 6 and then we'll talk.
Okay. Okay.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
I'm going to devour this when it's available on the app. And I may even just wind up buying the trade, because it just seems very much up to my sensibilities.
Oh, everything King does. My policy now is I get the collection too, because his work reads even better when you read it in a sitting, basically.
And that's how I've read this. I read the first 3 issues together and then 4 and 5 together, and it reads much better than me waiting between 1 and 2 when I did that.
Yeah. Yep.
So, speaking of Greg Smallwood, I finally dipped my heels into Moon Knight. Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight. The first issue of that earlier tonight, actually. I was sitting on my couch watching one of the most recent episodes of The Simpsons while flipping through this comic. And I mean, we're going to talk Moon Knight, the series, in a week or two here on the show. So I figured I should go back to something that a lot of people have been talking about in relation to the version of the Moon Knight that we have on the screen. And Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight, again, I've only read 1 issue so far, and I cannot tell you how hooked I am already. Smallwood's art is amazing in this. It's way different than modern Smallwood. Like I'd say it's a lot more almost noir, if that makes any sense, but not as noir, like a different type of noir than what he has in Human Target. It's very simplistic, but probably I'm trying to think of like who I would describe it as, like art wise in comparison. Who co-created Alias again?
Michael Gaydos.
Gaydos, yes. Very, very Gaydos-esque in his use of colors and also the faces in this particular series of Moon Knight. And this starts off with Mark Spector waking up in an insane asylum and not knowing where he is or how he got there, and is basically told by those keeping him in there that you're insane, Mark, and also you're not Moon Knight. Moon Knight's out there in the real world, and you're in here locked up with us. And Mark has to figure out whether or not he's delusional or whether or not he's Moon Knight. And he keeps having flashes to all these other personas that he's had over the years, and it's a very nuanced and different take on the character than even I was expecting. And I'm very much intrigued to see where Jeff Lemire brings it. I've heard great things about this series, and to finally read the first issue of it, I'm in. So I gotta finish reading more of it on the Marvel Unlimited app. I'm super glad that I dipped my toes into it. As our Moon Knight historian, Kevin, have you read Lemire's take on the character?
I have. I've read all the iterations eventually, and I like Lemire's take on it. Obviously, it's a departure from other previous iterations.
Sure.
But I enjoyed reading the Warren Ellis run before this as well. There were certain things that each writer included in their runs on this title that were unique at the time, and I think this translates just as well. I really was, especially you guys talking about it tonight multiple times, but in this series, to me, what stood out for me was Greg Smallwood. His art is phenomenal. Some of the covers he's done on this run are some of the best images for this character that I've seen in a long time. And I also had kind of the experience a similar experience, I should say, is that an evolution of his artwork during this run. And Jordan Belair, her colors just are profoundly phenomenal and over the top complimentary to his artwork, and she was as well with Declan Shalvey, in the Ellis run. So I mean, it's just
wow.
It's his art. I mean, I was aware of Smallwood on some of the other things he had done before this. And when I saw he was going to be on this, I was like, oh, okay, I can kind of, and then when I saw him do it, and of course, obviously, as he progressed through the run, I really, really enjoyed it. It was a great visual book as well as an interesting storyline. So it's a good read. It's a very good read.
Definitely looking forward to reading more. So I don't know if it's going to quite be a while watching The Simpsons read next time around. But,
It's kind of one of those things you got to kind of pay attention to. I mean, there are some,
yeah.
So it's not a distracted read. You want to be able to focus on, all aspects of it while you're reading it. But,
all the nuances of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other one that I wanted to touch on real quick, and let me find the artwork I have for it. Before recording today, I made sure that I read issue 75 of Justice League, which just came out.
I didn't do that yet.
Yeah,
I'm way behind.
It just came out. This is what's going to be leading into Dark Crisis, and part of me almost wishes they had pulled an Infinite Crisis and that this was just called separately from the Justice League book, Prelude to Dark Crisis, because I feel like this issue is going to be very important for people to read before they get to Dark Crisis, because this is the impetus. This is everything leading up to it. I feel like there's going to be pieces that you might even be missing if you just read from Dark Crisis, issue 1 when it comes out. But what I'll say is, Josh Williamson, continues his, his whole Justice League arc that he's been telling, including the Justice League Incarnate here, as our Justice League, gets the call and helps out Justice League Incarnate on a case, and gets whisked away into a dead multiverse, and Pariah's there. And I'm not going to give away the spoilers, but this is not your daddy's Pariah. Murd, I'm going to love to see whether or not you love or hate this take on the character, because it is not your daddy's Pariah. Let's just put it that way.
Bracing myself now.
Yeah. But Pariah is less so a observer, less so a watcher, and more a tool in this story so far. Definitely at the machinations of some darkness, to say the least. And this will lead into, it's not a spoiler to say, since DC won't shut up about it, this is the death of the Justice League, begins here with issue 75 and then leads into Dark Crisis afterwards. So definitely key reading here. Read issue 75, then get into what happens afterwards. It's a great issue. I actually really enjoyed it.
I'll pick it up.
It's just, I myself even wonder what the heck they're doing with Pariah. And also, the mutton chops are gone. The mutton chops are gone.
Murd.
I know. It's like, come on, design sense, people. You can't get rid of the mutton chops.
Ian, is that a John Stewart Green Lantern?
Yes, it is, actually.
Okay. I wasn't sure about that.
John Stewart's gone through a bunch of different changes over the past couple of months in Justice League. So I believe he's even going by a different name now rather than just Green Lantern. Like, they have him listed as Green Lantern here, but he's like a hyper powerful, almost Ion-esque Green Lantern these days. So, yep. Yeah, so I really enjoyed what I had to see there, and I'm in for Dark Crisis because it's got the word crisis in the title. DC's kind of good at those for the most part, but
yeah, usually.
We'll see. I've got one more, and then I'll shut up and let other people talk. I got this as a gift, a late birthday gift from a friend of mine very recently. Pulp Empire. It's the secret history of comic book imperialism. I haven't even had the chance to break it open yet, but I figured those on the call would find this intriguing. It's the back cover blurb here. Ever so often, a single book changes our understanding of an entire topic. And the writer of this, his last name is Hirsch. Let me find his first name here. But basically, they say Hirsch's brilliant, artfully written Pulp Empire does that for mid-20th century American studies. The billions of comic books that rolled off American presses and circumnavigated the globe in the 40s and 50s reveal significant unexplored aspects of American society, politics, and foreign history.
Ooh.
And while Hirsch's spectacular research introduces American historians to a new field of study, his elegant writing invites a broad audience to read this unique and beautifully produced book. And that was a blurb by Martin J. Sherwin who is a Pulitzer Prize winning co-author of American Prometheus and author of Gambling with Armageddon.
Wow, that sounds like it's right up my alley.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is freaking awesome. I'm super happy. My buddy Austin got this for me when we were hanging out at the Bronx Brewery a couple of weeks ago as a late birthday gift. And it is a heady tome, but I will definitely do my best to get through at least a little bit of it, just to see what it's all about. But
I look forward to your field report, honey.
Fantastic book from the looks of it. So that's that with me. Let's get to what some of our guests have been reading. Matt, you get a chance to break anything open lately?
About a month ago, I was doing some cleaning, some laundry, some ironing, some dishes, and I thought, I'm going to watch The Eternals. And I turned on Disney Plus, and I remembered they just got the Netflix Marvel shows.
Nice.
So instead of watching The Eternals, I went back to start watching the majority of season 1 of Daredevil. The reason why I bring that up is the only thing I've been reading is I started going back to the old Moon Knight issues because nothing really out there that I've seen or heard about has interested me. So I thought, well, just kind of read some of the stuff I already have here. So during the pandemic, I started, and I believe since the pandemic, I'm up to issue 8, starting at issue 1, because I usually don't have too much time to sit down and read an issue. So nothing too exciting coming from me with regard to any books that I've been reading lately.
Is this the 80s series you're reading, Matt?
The best series, yes. Unless Kevin disagrees with me, I would say the best one.
This is the Doug Monk, Bill Sienkiewicz Moon Knight, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
And you're up to the Moon King's storyline right now.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was right before the Return of Midnight Man again.
Yeah, because I already got him, and I know in the upcoming cover that I saw that was going to be the next thing to go to.
Hey, you'll get no argument from me. Come on now.
I know.
Out of curiosity, I mean, have you picked up anything new or things you might have missed on the reread, or is it just return to old home?
Basically that, just because when I decided to start picking this up, the Moon Knight Disney Plus series was in the works and stuff like that, and I kind of, I mean, when we get into the episode review, I can get in there, but I was starting to theorize how much, because of the way that people misinterpret the character to be Marvel's Batman, which is incorrect, how much they're going to try to deviate from that notion that it's going to stop really feeling like the Moon Knight character. So I just kind of wanted to get back into the roots of the version that I enjoyed reading. So nice. That's why I went back.
Matt, talking about you're going back to the Daredevil series. That's something my kids never watched because when they came out, they were a little bit young, in my opinion, for Daredevil, especially.
You don't want them to watch the King Head beheading someone with a car door?
Exactly. and so my oldest says to me, hey, I see that these new series are coming on to Disney Plus. Are they the ones from Netflix that you said about me maybe watching, but then didn't after a certain point? I said, yeah. I said, you're certainly old enough now. You watch them, but watch out for episode 4. That's the one that made me decide, nope, not yet, when you were younger. And a few days later, he messaged me and he says, yep, you're right. I could not have handled that when I was that age. Once I saw episode 4, he goes, actually, that's a little disturbing right now, even. and it is for how Kingpin bashes that guy in the head. Yep. But he's getting a kick out of watching it, and I'm getting a kick out of hearing him talk about it. So yeah, that's fun.
No doubt.
I gotta go because it's Sophie's bedtime. Yeah, I'll be back in a minute. But I did want to say, when I started watching, I was texting Kevin. I've forgotten how much of the groundwork of the Netflix run of all the shows came out of the first episode.
Oh yeah.
And I seeing how, everything together, going back and like, oh, I forgot about this, I forgot about that, but that really set up, in season 2 or the Defenders or something else. So I don't know if they just built off of that or if it was always kind of, this is where we're looking to go and this is how we're going to get there type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know if that's ever been clarified. I mean, because obviously it was a new undertaking, so there wasn't, clear determination that everything was going to succeed.
Right. Right.
So I kind of think it was a work, it was a progressive work. It wasn't something that was all set up, let's film and see what happens. And if it continues to be good, we'll film these other subsequent,
Yeah.
scripts and stuff.
I'd like to think they had kind of ideas about where they'd like to go, but they were going to start here and see what they did with this and this, and
I agree with
then
that.
felt better about it.
I did. It was last year sometime. I actually sat down and watched all 3 seasons of Daredevil and Defenders. And I enjoyed watching it a second time.
I still have to watch the third of Daredevil.
I was going to say
the third season's tremendous.
There's still parts of Daredevil that I myself have to watch. Just like I've only watched a little bit of Punisher. I still have to finish Jessica Jones. And yet I've watched all of Luke Cage, I've watched Defenders, and I've watched all of Iron Fist. I just have to go back and finish the rest. So
well, I just hope now that it's on Disney Plus, at the very least, please put Charlie Cox back in the Daredevil suit on television. Because I mean they put him in the Spider-Man movie, so I'm assuming they're going to do something with him because
I would too.
His performance go ahead.
He's heavily rumored that he's in She-Hulk.
And Echo for that matter.
And Echo, from what I'm hearing, is basically, even though it's her show, and obviously they had set up with what had happened in Hawkeye, that it literally is almost like a pseudo Daredevil season 4.
That makes sense considering the stories it's based on. Yeah,
sure.
He has that much of it's that much content of him in the show that it literally is almost a season 4.
Well, I'll tell you what. So I enjoyed the Hawkeye series that Disney Plus did. If that's kind of what we get of Echo, like I said earlier, I'm kind of choosy of what I'm watching now just because of time, and I don't hate watch stuff. If it turns out that Daredevil and Kingpin don't have significant roles, I probably will not watch that show because there's nothing about the character that was introduced in Hawkeye that made me go, yes, I want to see a spinoff of this character.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah. She-Hulk, however, I'm in from ground floor.
Yeah, I'm in for that one too.
Not just for the character of She-Hulk, but the fact that it's Tatiana Maslany playing her. I'm a huge fan of hers from multiple things.
When is that debuting, Ian?
That's Ms. Marvel's next. So I think She-Hulk is after that this year, if I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah. So it'd be later.
I wonder if they'll bring back.
I understand.
Yeah.
So they bring back Abomination for that.
Mm-hmm.
Reportedly, Charlie Cox. I wonder if they will sneak in, and I don't think Thunderbolt Ross. I know that the actor passed, but if they got anything with him. But I wonder if they'll try to work Betty in there somewhere.
She's
one of the characters we haven't seen.
Can I say more than that? Can we please get Rick Jones already?
It's like the mascot of the Marvel Universe.
It's got to happen sometime.
I know, and
that's an oversight. Yep.
My dream casting for Rick Jones for years has been Darren Criss. I think he would do an amazing job as Rick Jones, especially if they then if they manage to do a Genus series with him eventually, and the crisscross applesauce of universe to universe, like that would be.
But he's got to have a song in there too, then.
Oh yeah, well that's just it. You need somebody
with guitar
with musical chops, and that's Darren Criss to a T. So, let's make the magic happen, baby. That's
a great point, Ian. That's a great point. Yeah, that's a big oversight.
Absolutely. Yep, definitely. Kevin, what you been reading?
Embrace it all. Last thing I read, I felt compelled to read the last Captain Marvel storyline. Because of the whole hype of bringing all the Marvels back, including Jennison, especially Marvel. Curious to see if they would do it any justice, or would it be another similar storyline? Let's hype it up of kind of return of Marvel, and and then it obviously lands penultimately flat on its face and is not what was solicited or presented to be. Was this, I was kind of approaching it thinking like, all right, maybe they learned their lesson, and if they're going to include him in some level in some fashion, that they would like, all right, we need to kind of pay a little more attention and maybe take it a bit more seriously. And I read the storyline, and it really had not much of an impact on me at all. It just seemed like more of the same. I've read other parts of the latest Captain Marvel story, the runs, I should say.
Yeah.
It just I don't know. It's just more of the same. It's nothing special. And at least there was a rational explanation for him returning to the title for this storyline, as well as the other quote unquote Marvels. And now obviously we're getting a spin-off of that. Genesis is getting his own, limited series again, and Peter David, and so I'm curious to see where that goes. So there, something, I'm hoping something positive comes out of it. I'm looking forward to reading that miniseries. But as much as I've tried Kelly DeConnick's Captain Marvel, it just doesn't grab me. And I say that. And before she became Captain Marvel, I read all of her Ms. Marvel stuff and enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
So I want to make sure that that's stated, so that it's not just comes across as some biased opinion. I mean, I enjoy Ms. Marvel and have ever since she was introduced, and up until until the time when she was relaunched as the new title. But it just doesn't work for me. I don't know. It just comes across flat, and I don't get interested. Nothing pulls me into the character. It literally is unnaturally so compared to what I'm used to reading prior to that. So
I feel like that previous Ms. Marvel series gets forgotten a lot, and I was a huge fan of that as well while it was around. I think that did a really great job of bringing Karl, back into prominence before she was Captain Marvel.
Right.
I just wish more people would talk about it. It was really well done.
Fellas, I got a bolt. I got to go pick up my son. I apologize. I just got the call.
No
But
problem.
if you're still here when I come back, I'll sign. If not, I'll talk to you all next time.
All right.
Take care.
All right.
Sounds good, Chris.
Night, gentlemen.
If I could say, I think just peripherally, I think what they're trying to do with Captain Marvel now, I think they were more successful when it was Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
There's just again peripherally some of the stuff I see. It seems as though some of the stuff they want to do, it seems more forced than when it was Ms. Marvel, and it was basically the same type of characterization that they're looking for. I just think there's like a little too much pressure now that she has the title of Captain Marvel to make sure that comes across, as opposed to where it seemed more natural in the Ms. Marvel series right before.
Yeah, I thought Brian Reed did a great job in nailing the character, and she was very solid. And it was, to me, it felt, with all her appearances in Avengers and her own title, back in the 70s, but more so off of, when she appeared in Avengers, he built off of all that, and she came across even more so, but just a very solid character. And I really could get into her as a character in that run. And it was, over 4 years of the series. And I just don't get that same feel ever since they, translated the title. And it just doesn't have that, I don't know. It's just flat. That's how it feels to me.
Yeah. Well,
unfortunately,
even before that, when Busiek was using her as a supporting character in Iron Man, that was great stuff, and the Avengers stuff that she was in.
Mighty Avengers, she was in the Mighty Avengers, and that was good. I realize, it comes across to me like they're trying to make her Marvel's Wonder Woman. And great if they succeed at it, fantastic. But it just, Matt and I have talked about this before, and it comes across coerced to me. They just keep trying to force it, and it doesn't take off, and they just keep trying, let's throw this against the wall and let's stick, now she's a new Sorcerer Supreme. Let's see if that sticks. Oh, that doesn't stick. Oh, now she's the strongest Avenger ever. Oh, that didn't stick. Let's do, it's just, it's just over and over and over, and you're just running on the treadmill and not getting anywhere. And I don't know how long you just keep trying to hammer it home, but it's certainly not. It's not sticking.
Some of the best Captain Marvel stuff, Carol Danvers' Captain Marvel stuff, actually came out of the Ultimates series that I believe Al Ewing wrote for a while. There was a team that had both her and Blue Marvel and a bunch of other not often used characters thrown in there as well. It was the first IP to use Ultimates after Secret War concluded.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have not read that, so that's interesting you bring that up.
Yeah,
so.
it's really good stuff, and it even like used Galactus as a character before Galactus's mom got her play. Galactus himself got a little bit of play in this Ultimates series, and it was good stuff.
Was this Galactus as Galactus or Galactus as Gallon of Ta?
I think this was Galactus as Galactus. There might have been some pre-Galactus going on as well, but this was mostly the big dude.
Yep. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you planted a seed there, so
there you go. If I've managed to do that, then I've done my job.
That's it. Game over. Game over.
Anything else, or just
that's the latest and the greatest on my end. So
excellent. All right, Shane, what about you?
Well, we talked about I'm reading Human Target and have another issue of that to go. I read the last, 6 and 7, I think, of Blue and Gold. No, it's 5 and 6 of Blue and Gold. And I'm kind of holding off on reading 7 and waiting for 8 to come because I don't want it to end. I'm having a lot of fun reading that. But after we talked about the Batman movie on the show, and I had some questions, things I didn't quite remember from other comics, I did pick up a volume of The Long Halloween because it's been years since I read that.
Oh, wow.
And I'm through the first 5 issues of this. And I got to say, when you guys said that it looked like it pulled heavily from Long Halloween, you're right. The movie, it barring the characters of like Solomon Grundy and Joker and different things in the book that aren't in the movie, of course, I can really get a vibe, a feel for a lot of the movie, the nuances, things that are said, the way the narration goes, coming from a big influence of Long Halloween. And if it's not, then it's an amazing coincidence, but it really does read like that in some ways. And I'm really enjoying it.
Out of curiosity, have you or anybody else on the call watched the animated movies yet of Long Halloween? Because I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Oh, I do not believe I did that yet.
Okay, yeah, because I'm curious just how well they transfer over.
Yeah,
because some of the animated movies are great, and then some of them
are not
great.
I think I saw. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, King. No. Just gonna say, I said DC has, that's one thing I always commended DC. They always did a great job with those animated movies, and it seemed they started to slide a little bit, and then they kind of brought it back together, and they did that 2-part, Death of Superman, which I thought was fantastic, and I'm glad they
much
redid
better.
that.
Yeah, much better.
And I've been watching all the Batman ones. I don't think I saw Long Halloween. The last one. I actually started to watch the latest one, which is Son of the Dragon, which is
70s.
Yeah, it's very 70s. It's kind of like, martial arts 70s vibe. And I started to watch it and I actually kind of stopped. I mean, it wasn't just because I didn't like it that I stopped, but there's a reason why I stopped. But I actually was like, I don't even know if I'm going to come back to this. So it makes me a little apprehensive of, because obviously there's been a lot of talk about the Killing Joke translation. So I mean, it just is not conveying the same as it had before. So I have lost, kind of enthusiasm to be willing to invest that time on some of these. So
I want to Sledgehammer, and I want to just cut the first 30 minutes out of that Killing Joke adaptation, and then it's great. Then it's actually like exactly what I wanted.
And I don't mind the action that Batgirl and Barbara Gordon go through, but it shouldn't be there.
It's character assassination. I'll be entirely honest with you. And like, I mean, I don't mean that lightly. Like I was in a movie theater watching that, and I was
I was too.
I was gripping my seat That's how upset I was with some of the stuff that they did to Barbara in those first 30 minutes. And I'll tell you, it also got me to basically stop reading Brian Azzarello stuff after that. Like I don't know what, apparently it was an idea that was in his head for years too. And I'm thinking to myself, why?
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
there's just some things I just don't want to see on the screen, and they were all in those first 30 minutes. So that's, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, and obviously you're not alone in that opinion. So, but it just, that's just why I haven't, it's just an elongated version of as why I have not seen The Long Halloween. I'd like to, I really would, and I hope it's good, but
I still think that Dark Knight Returns, that
was good.
Did,
that was good.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was worth watching. I definitely would say that.
Yeah.
It wasn't astounding, it wasn't excellent, but it was enjoyable, and it is worth a watch.
Yeah.
I liked year one, but
I
there
liked
was
year one too.
Yeah,
there
I
was
actually
some
have to
parts
watch year one again because I wanted to kind of get that vibe.
Yeah.
one of my favorite moments was his inner monologue when he jumped down and landed on a fire escape to two burglars, and it's about how he gave him a growl and stuff like that. And I thought, oh, I love that, but it wasn't in the movie, so that was one of the things. That's like, I guess some of the scenes that I enjoy can't be in the movie because it's more inner monologue, and I guess they could do it that well. But that was one of the things that jumped out right at me as probably my favorite little bit of monologue in the whole book, even though that's probably my favorite Batman story. It just wasn't in there, so it didn't quite feel as good as I was hoping it would have.
Sure.
I mean, that's got to be very difficult to try to sit there and decide what goes in and what doesn't go in. And you have a certain period of time to try to convey the whole story, keep it interesting, try to include as much as possible, but you just can't include everything.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that's why they're adaptations. That's why they're not like, I still point to, Zack Snyder's Watchmen as a perfect example. Like,
oh my God.
Watchmen by Zack Snyder at times, and this is me personally, I'm sure other people disagree with this, but I felt like he was almost being too faithful at times up until that ending, which completely deviates. But it felt like he was like adhering to the page rather than making his own movie, if that makes any sense.
I mean, I didn't get the feeling as drastically as I did the first Sin City. Because that was, to me, I mean, literally, I loved Sin City, the comic, and I just fell all for that whole artwork and everything, and then when I went to see the movie, I was like, oh, I'm gonna see the movie, and I literally was like panel for panel. I'm like, I've seen all this, it's like, really, so it was just like I really was kind of somewhat disappointed. I didn't get that feeling watching Watchmen though, as much as there is a close correlation to kind of that page by page iteration. But I really found myself, in fact, Watchmen's still one of my favorite comic movies. Even though they did deviate the ending, I understand why, and it certainly didn't ruin it for me.
It did, and it didn't ruin it for me. I think I understand why they did it, but at the same time, it changes the motivation, and even the execution, because, I mean, spoilers for a movie that's forever old at this point, but it basically makes Dr. Manhattan way more of the villain than he would have been if it was a giant squid, because essentially now the blame is on him. And yes, in turn, you could say, well, then that means, he's the superhero of America. So then the blame's on America and yada, yada, yada. But it changes the motivations a lot by changing it over to Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
I will say it's one of the, I enjoyed the movie so much, especially the director's cut where they throw even the animated story.
That I love.
That when I watched the HBO series that they did, I kept thinking, couldn't they have just based this off of what Zack Snyder did, that movie, as opposed to, and just try to keep some of those same things, which again, so that just kind of, so the TV series just kind of felt like something completely different from the novel, from the movie that we saw. But
see, for me, it was a sequel. And that's
Exactly.
that's what was so great about it, is that
Yeah.
it acted as a sequel to the graphic novel.
Yeah.
And they executed that, I mean, beautifully for me.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, not what maybe some people were expecting when they heard, oh my God, they're making a TV series out of Watchmen, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, it turned out to be Watchmen 2 essentially, but
Yeah.
it's great for what it is.
I did. They did a fantastic job with it. I mean, I really enjoyed that. And I was so disappointed that we don't get more of that. I mean, that's hard to do because you start tapping into that realm, and it's like, well, you don't want to overdo it either, But I feel that it really conveyed well, and it was respectful to the previous works, and it felt natural, and as an extension, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So
It is probably the best follow-up that they've done from the graphic novel. I mean, because I know they did a lot of spin-offs, miniseries, and shit. I'm sorry. But I've only ever saw that sequel series. I didn't read any of the comics, and I think at one point even Batman or the DC heroes intertwined with them as well. Is that probably the best
Yes,
spin-off?
no question about it. It is not only is it the one that feels the most Alan Moore in the end. Like it feels like it got the original material more than any of the follow-ups did. Mind you, at the same time, Doomsday Clock was coming out, and by coming out, I mean it had been coming out for 3 years and still hadn't finished yet. But I like Doomsday Clock for what it is, but it's not really a Watchmen 2 as much as it is Watchmen plus DC Universe.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just, it's its own thing. This was a solid sequel to Watchmen in so many ways, and I love it for that. Yeah. All right, let's head over to Murd, but before we do, Murd has things to answer. Ah, yes. It's time once again for Muddle the Murd, as those wonderful tones, the harp just fills the room, and Murd has more on what it takes to muddle the Murd.
All right, aspiring muddlers. Muddle the Murd's a trivia contest, as you probably already know. And so if you'd like to try muddling the Murd, you'll need to come up with 3 comic book trivia questions, 1 Marvel, 1 DC, 1 about some third publisher. Also, make sure your questions break down chronologically to 1 question about comics pre-1970, 1 about comics between 1970 and 2000, inclusive, so that includes the years 1970 and 2000 themselves, and 1 question about comics post-2000. Don't forget to come up with the answers to these questions. Once you've got the questions and their answers in mind, type them out in an email, send it to comicgeekspeak@gmail.com with Muddle the Murd in the subject line. Ian will find them, Ian will ask them, and I will attempt to answer them. And if I get all 3 of them wrong, you will have won a fantastic prize.
Excellent. And what is that fantastic prize?
Well, this time, Ian, our lucky contestant, is playing for a tomorrow's publication. And here it is on screen. It's Sal Buscema, Comics' Fast and Furious Artist. Ooh. Written by Jim Amash with a hefty editorial assist from our friend Eric Nolan Wethington, who also designed the book. And it's this nice hefty paperback here about the life, the works, the dynamism, the legacy of Sal Buscema, who is one of the first artists whose style I learned to recognize when I started reading comics back as a young teenager. In fact, I think after Ron Lim, he might be the first, well, second after Ron Lim, whose style I learned to recognize. So this is a whole big, very detailed and well-researched tribute to the man's work with lots of black and white artwork included.
Excellent.
Nice.
Well, the man who is attempting to muddle you is a first attempt muddler, a first emailer. However, a listener since before episode 100.
Wow.
Please welcome Stephen Cole to the floor. As he says, hello, fellow comic geeks. This is my first email, but I'm a longtime patron member. As I said, he's been with us since before episode 100. I know that because I shared that with Peter Rios after the 2008 podcasting panel in San Diego, and Peter shared our meeting on episode 483 between the 10 and 11 minute marks for any of you who are looking to find it.
Nice.
I don't use the forums, but I can say that the CGS crew is my comics community. I have spent much time with all of you over the years. I've worked a long work commute, about an hour and 15 minutes each way. Yowzas.
Whew.
So I can say I've logged many an episode with the crew. I've enjoyed many of your episodes, but I must say the spotlights and the top 5 episodes are some of my favorite. I started collecting comics many years ago when I was 11 years old. My first being Action Comics / Superman, number 451, cover date September 1975. Over that time, I've collected both Marvel and DC. Sadly, in 1992, a year before I started collecting, my parents asked that I move my collection out of the garage and into my apartment. During the move, someone broke into my truck and grabbed the entire collection.
Oh.
Wow.
It's not easy to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't just slip that many comic books into your pocket and saunter away.
Right.
I know. Oh, poor guy. Foolishly,
Wow.
I didn't realize anyone would think my books had enough value to steal. Since that time, I've rebuilt parts of my old collection and added many books too. I started collecting back before they were comic stores, back when I had to work with the 7-Eleven store manager so I can get the new releases first. And I'll scroll down a little bit down here. Back in 2004, I just drove down to the convention center for San Diego Comic-Con and bought tickets on the spot.
Wow.
Walking in, I have never seen so many back issues in my life. Thanks to the CGS podcast, I've discovered many different comics over the years and purchased them both on your suggestion and recommendations. But enough of my reminiscing. Time for my Muddle the Murd questions. And here we go.
I'm
Now
rooting for you, Stephen.
Indeed. And we begin with a DC Comics before 1970. We all know Detective Comics number 27 of May 1939 featured the first appearance of the Batman. The 6-page story launched a character that lasted for 80-plus years. I would think that nearly every comic fan has more than a passing interest in the characters presented within this issue. Or do they? There were 12 individual stories included in this 64-page comic. Including the Batman story, please name 6 of the other characters / story titles included in this important comic. I will give you character alone if you cannot name story title, but 6 out of the 12 is what he desires.
Wow. Wow.
I may even give you 4 to be entirely honest with you, but let's see what you got here, Murd.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of multi-part questions, and it's just as well because I know I can't name story titles for anything other than Batman, and that story was called The Case of the Chemical Syndicate, as I recall.
Indeed.
Nice.
All right, so Batman's in there. Oh, geez, and I do have the Millennium Edition, facsimile reprint of Detective number 27. So I don't have any excuse here if I can't name some more. Oh boy, was Speed Saunders in there?
You got it. Yep, Speed Saunders is one of the 12.
Okay, yeah, I've flipped through this in the past because I anticipated I might be asked a question like this at some point. Other stuff that happened in that landmark issue, Detective Comics 27. Cliff Cornwall?
Incorrect.
Darn it.
Yep. All right. I think I'll just stop you there rather than make you make your brain bleed on the rest of this question, if you don't mind.
Is Crimson Avenger in that one?
Yes, indeed. That is number 3. So yeah, if you do think you have more in the pipe, well, I'll let you guess one or 2 more, but otherwise I'll just go ahead and read them out.
That's good for you, man. That's kudos on that.
Yeah, more than I could do.
Yeah, I know there's at least 1 or 2 humor strips in there too, since comics were more literally comical in those days.
Yep.
I don't know. Was Kelly the Cop? Kind of rings a bell.
No, unfortunately not.
Okay, read away.
All right, here we are. So Batman, obviously number 1, the chase of the Chemical Syndicate, as you said. Speed Saunders, as you guessed, Ace Investigator. Buck Marshall, Range Detective. Spy by Siegel and Schuster. Crimson Avenger by Jim Chambers. Death on the Airwaves by Paul Dean. We have Bruce Nelson by Tom Hickey. The Mysterious Dr. Fu Manchu by Sax Rohmer. A character
I think appeared on the cover of Detective Number 1, as I recall.
Yep, and a character with both Marvel and DC history at that.
True.
Flatfoot Flanagan by Gustafsson. Cosmo the Phantom of the Skies by Ivan Elvin. Plain Cloths Pete by Alger. And last but certainly not least, a character we are all familiar with, Mr. Sam Bradley. By Slam Bradley.
Oh, right.
Bradley, for crying out loud. I really should have.
Yeah.
Yep, Slam himself finished it out with number 12. Yep. All right. No more multi-part questions, luckily. So. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. There is one more, but that's question 3. It's a lot easier. It's a lot less than 12 though, so I will hopefully be good here. Question 2. Marvel Comics between 1970 and 2000. Back in 1978, the Incredible Hulk spent time with the Avengers, the Defenders, multiple team-ups, helped introduce new characters such as Wolverine, and a wide variety of villains to smash. However, in issue 226, Big Man on Campus, the Hulk faces a character who stands 10 feet tall and does not run as the rest of the nearby crowd scatters in fear. Who is this character, and what words does this mysterious figure use to bring down the Hulk and force a transformation back to Bruce Banner?
I don't think I have an answer to either one of those questions. 10 feet tall, encounters the Hulk on a college campus in issue 226. Only guess I have, and this is probably wrong because I don't remember him being this tall. I'm going to go in a slightly different direction here because, I was going to guess Glorian, but instead I'm going to go with the character who was Glorian's mentor and creator, the Shaper of Worlds.
So rather than that, it was a statue of Socrates.
Okay.
Which includes the inscription of "Know Thyself." So the "Know Thyself" is what transformed him back into Bruce Banner.
Okay.
Comics, ladies and gentlemen, comics. All right, and question 3, the other publisher. Let's go with Image on this one. After the year 2000. As I was raising my kids, I would look for books that they might enjoy. The youngest is currently 27. I think one of your previews episodes helped direct me to Lions, Tigers, and Bears, Volume 1. Fear and Pride by Mike Bullock and Jack Lawrence, published in 2007. Young Joey Price feels frightened when the lights are turned off at bedtime, and with good reason, because the beasties are looking to take him. But he's protected by a group of magical stuffed animals called the Night Pride. You name the 4 different characters to make up the Night Pride.
I barely remember that this series existed. I certainly have never read any of it. So I think Mr. Cole has won himself a Sal Buscema book. Is he expecting me to give the characters names or just their species?
Their names, yeah.
No, I can't do that. I forfeit. I'm not just going to try to string consonants together here to make up an answer.
Is that a white flag I see?
It's tipping over my king.
So it's Palo, leader of the pack, Venus, guardian of the pride, Ares, warrior of the night, and Minerva, who has a title, but I couldn't see it from the way the box was drawn. So Palo, Venus, Ares, and Minerva are the Night Pride.
All right. Well,
wow.
Congratulations, Stephen. Thank you for your many years of loyal listening, and I'm happy to be able to send you a little something.
Most definitely.
I'm sorry it's not a comic book, maybe something that will replace one of the things that were stolen from you so tragically those years ago, but at least it's something.
You should throw in an autographed picture. One of your headshots.
Yeah, sure.
He did include a bonus question, by the way, which I'm just going to throw out there. It's a Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man question, and he's been listening since episode 100, so he gets a bonus question. In the midst of the fight between Spider-Man, the iguana, and the lizard is distracted by a woman near the battle. What iconic name does this woman have?
Oh, gosh. It's...
Matt,
Was that it?
Yeah,
Mark?
Matt got it.
He did have a lot of early Peter Parker issues in his collection when we were friends as kids, and when I first started to get interested in comics thanks to that collection. So I'm not surprised.
That was in the 30s, right? That was like the early 30 issues.
Yep, issue 34. Yep, and as he put it, Martha, this is Kirk Connor / the Lizard's wife. Why did you say that name? Oh boy,
I was not thinking along those lines at all. I mean, I knew that his wife's name was Martha. I thought it was going to be like Marilyn Monroe or somebody.
Yeah, some big iconic. Yeah.
Oh man, well certainly iconic. Certainly iconic in the comic book scope of things, to say the least. So
no denying that.
Yep. Stephen, thank you so much for listening as long as you have. Probably listening just about as long as I have. So job well done all around.
Indeed.
Excellent. Meanwhile, Murd, what you been reading?
Not an awful lot, Ian, to be honest. I'm looking forward to, within the next few days here, after we've put in all the blood, sweat, and tears of cleaning and stocking the Christmas shop in Stone Harbor and getting it open. Hopefully I'll have some time sitting behind the counter to read a few things. But over the last weeks and months, on Easter, I dug out some Tales of the Bean World by Larry Marder. It's making that an Easter tradition, I think. Did the same thing last year. I finally got around to reading Mike Schwartz's Complete Ocean Verse.
Okay.
That webcomic he did back in the day, which is a fine bit of pulpy underwater adventure married with comic strip humor. I'm sorry that he didn't produce more of it, but I'm happy to have all of it in one volume. I've been meaning to read it for years, and I finally did. Mm-hmm. And most interesting to me, at least, I cracked open something that I got through a Kickstarter campaign I helped fund a little while ago. It is Impossible Jones, the first volume of that from Karl Kessel and David Hahn, which is a story of... It's a professional thief who accidentally gets superpowers during a heist gone wrong. She's mistaken as a superhero by her fictitious metropolis's native superhero population, and she just kind of rolls with it and sees how far she can get and how much profit she can reap before somebody calls her on her bluff. And so that's your premise. It's basically it's like Harley Quinn meets Plastic Man meets the Thunderbolts, and there she is. There's our title character on the screen there. Yes. It reads a little bit like an Astro City story, actually, because it's set in a fictional city called New Hope City, which is kind of busting at the seams with costumed heroes and villains, all of which popped fully formed right out of Karl Kessel's head, and we're seeing them from an outside perspective, namely that of this random burglar who looted the wrong laboratory at the wrong time and ended up getting superpowers and kind of backed into a career as a superhero. And the breakout star of the series so far, by the way, is a character called Even Steven, who is very clearly based on Steve Ditko's The Question. You know, he wears like a black and white, split down the middle, dichotomized suit with a faceless mask and a fedora, and he's very big into black and white notions of morality, equality, fairness. His superpower is he gains exactly enough super strength or other powers to make him the equal of whatever superpowered opponent he's up against.
Not bad.
He's a strong believer in fair fights, in balance, in all things. Kessel has already lined up a bunch of superstar creators to do Even Steven solo stories, including, I believe, Kurt Busiek, speaking of Astro City, and upcoming Mark Waid. So he's done a couple of other Impossible Jones Kickstarter campaigns subsequent to this. I'm talking about the original hardcover, which is Impossible Jones's first appearance in Origin and all that good stuff. I think Scout Comics actually published it. after the Kickstarter campaign had concluded, and all the books have been sent out to the people who supported it. So it is out there for people to buy, I'm pretty sure, and I do recommend that you do if you're a fan of classic superheroics, and if you know Karl Kiesel's reputation as a writer. He used to write the Superboy series at DC, and he's done a ton of other things here and there. He wrote the first Harley Quinn solo series ever published.
Yep.
So, her powers are kind of crazy shape-shifting and morphing powers, like a Plastic Man advanced, which explains why her arms look like they're like 8 feet long in this sample picture that you have on screen. Because they are. She stretched them. So yeah, that is a really fun book, and I've only read about the first third of that first Kickstarter hardcover, but I'm looking forward to more. And Volume 2 was Impossible Jones versus Holidays, which is a kind of like a Christmas-themed bandit. The Catwoman meets Jingle Bell.
Okay.
So that's I appreciate a good Christmas-themed character for reasons specific to my occupation. So
sure.
Let's look forward to reading that as well. But yeah, Impossible Jones is a pretty strong creation from Karl Kiesel. It is recommended.
I'm really digging how simple and yet refined her costume is. Like it's just the yellow and the blue outlines with the exclamation point. It's very very iconic.
Yeah, kind of a Silver Age meets swimwear kind of way.
Yep, and it is indeed Scout Comics that has been putting it out ever since. So yep, you are on the money with that one.
Excellent.
All right, fantastic. I have two movies I want to mention real quick that I've seen in recent memory that are not quite comic related, but they're enough comic related for me to bring up. One of which is a multiversal tale, Everything Everywhere All at Once, starring Michelle Yeoh. It is easily one of my favorite movies I've possibly ever seen, if not my favorite. I mean, my favorite movie in the last 10 years, and it's up there in my top 10 movies, period, at this point. Not only do I love multiverse, stories, but it's a very simple story of a housewife who's running a laundromat with her husband and has a strained relationship with her lesbian daughter. And they're Chinese, so they have those Chinese traditions, eating at them on either side. The father's just come to live with her as well. Michelle Yeoh playing the titular character. And then as they're being audited by the IRS, suddenly the father of the family takes off his glasses, snaps into place, and is like, we need you to help save the multiverse. And it's another universe's version of her husband who has jumped into her husband's body to try to get her to help save the multiverse because she has the power to do so. And it really works, like, for how outlandish the setting is. And the special effects are sometimes zany at times. There's a universe with like hot dog fingers as like the main difference is that it's like our world, only people have hot dogs for fingers. Like that's it. And
the Sliders fan in you was really perking up as you're talking about this.
You're damn right. You're damn right. Like that's what got me into sci-fi in the first place, and it's certainly doing its job here. There's even a reality where everything went right for this person, and rather than be where she is, she basically, rather than go right with her husband and leave China and then come to America, she went and left and became a Hong Kong kung fu actor. And everything is, like she's basically the star of the show. Essentially, she's Michelle Yeoh in that universe. So it's incredibly well done. The fight scenes are crazy good, and it's great to see the actor who played Short Round in Indiana Jones coming back around again. Kahu Kwan, he could easily take over the Indiana Jones franchise if he wanted to. That's how much personality and suave he has in this movie at times, while also coming off as geeky and nerdy when it calls for it. And also like Jamie Lee Curtis is in this movie. And she's excellent. She's as much of a nerd as we are. Like she cosplays, so like seeing her in a situation like this is great. It's just if you get a chance to see it, whether you see it in theater or whether you see it when it comes around to on demand or what have you, it is a wonderfully done movie, and it's easily one of the best of Michelle Yeoh's career. And happy to see her in the star vehicle any day of the week.
Yeah.
So definitely check it out. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
I saw a trailer for that and I thought it looked really good.
Yeah, it's superb. The other movie that I saw, Nicolas Cage, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to see this too.
He is an enigma, and he also has the unbearable weight of massive talent. Like in the movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It's a Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage. Obviously, it's a caricature version of the real life Nicolas Cage, but hey, it's comic book related because remember he was Ghost Rider, you see, and he almost played Superman and came pretty damn close to playing Superman in Burton's Superman Lives that fell apart.
And Luke Cage is, or Nick Cage is from Luke Cage.
That is true, and his son's name is Kal-El, so that brings it even further along there. But yeah, this is a world where the Nick Cage, the exaggerated Nick Cage, is on a falling out with his family and down on his luck and isn't getting the roles that he's looking to get in life. So he's given an opportunity by his agent, who's played by Neil Patrick Harris, to go to this remote island and get paid $1 million to basically meet his biggest fan. And the biggest fan is Pedro Pascal, and the buddy cop that then develops between Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal is delightful. These two have on-screen chemistry like nobody's business, and it just develops from there in many different ways. I'd say one of the best things about the movie is that although it's a caricature of Nick Cage, it still feels real. Where, like you can see like the love for his family. You can see the fact that like, even though he's a movie star, he's also a human being, but also like the comic book level zany adventure that they wind up going on. There's a drug trip scene at one point where Pedro Pascal gives Nick Cage mushrooms, and they're afraid that like everybody is out to get them, and they try to jump over this wall at one point, and Nick Cage's like, no, come on, grab my hand, I can't leave you behind.
I saw this part.
And then of course Pedro Pascal walks out from behind the wall because there's it's not a full wall. There's room to walk through without any problem after that. And Tiffany Haddish is in this, and it's just a incredibly silly, funny movie, and it's immediately one of my favorite Nick Cage movies, and he plays Nick Cage, go figure. So the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is well worth your time. That's what I'll say about that. And Chris, you were back just in time for me to discuss that.
Yeah, and did you guys discuss Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. Yep. I did just before you came on to basically say it's one of my favorite movies.
It's one of the best movies I've seen, and basically all I'll say, and I'm sure you already said this, it's putting aside all the really fun science fiction multiverse elements. It's the core of the movie is about accepting the consequences of the choices you've made in your life and accepting the people who you love you. That's really what it's about.
Absolutely.
And if Michelle Yeoh should win the Oscar for her performance.
Oh, absolutely. The movie should be nominated for Best Picture, period.
Yeah.
And
Short Round, holy crap, can that guy act?
Yes.
Wow.
I was just saying, they're planning, they're working on the new Indiana Jones movie. If he doesn't take over for Harrison after this, like I'm gonna be disappointed. Great. Yeah, no, he's great. He's absolutely great.
Better him than Shia LaBeouf, frankly.
Yeah.
Now that film, the minute the monkeys came in, I was done.
What the surviving a nuclear blast in a refrigerator wasn't enough for you?
Good to be back here, gentlemen. Good to be back.
Which they took, by the way, from the original plan.
You mentioned Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, exactly.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
That's just crazy.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Anything else of note before we?
I just
wrap
want to
things
quickly mention. I was in Pittsburgh this past weekend. Ryan and I went to see our dear old friend Dan. Danny boy, love you. Hang in there.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
Eides. So I don't know if we've mentioned on the show that during the pandemic, the owner of Eides, Greg Eides, died.
Yes.
He died of COVID. And the manager there, Ken, who's been there working there, I have known him for like at least 25 years. And he's been there longer than that. And he's now the co-owner. Like Greg left the store to him and another gentleman, and he's the co-owner of the store. And he's doing a lot of things like he's creating like t-shirts and buttons, decals, they put in new lights, like all this stuff to really kind of put a stamp on it. And it's the greatest store as ever. I went in, of course, I bought some stuff, which I just want to quickly point out. So.
Ooh, yes.
I was looking for books that I got lost in that flood that destroyed my basement back in the fall. And I lost almost all of my omnibuses. And I wasn't going to try to replace all of them, but Volume 2, Doug Monk, Paul Galassi. If you want to talk about next level Marvel art of the 1970s, this is the book you should be looking at. Like, as much as I love the Shang-Chi movie, that wasn't Shang-Chi. This is Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
If you're interested in just like those great like second wave artists that came into Marvel in the 70s, like Galassi and Frank Brunner and of course Starlin and
Gene Day and
P. Craig Russell. Gene Day comes a little bit later on. I mean, this stories in this volume is some of the greatest stuff Marvel was producing in the Bronze Age.
Yep.
So I can't recommend that enough.
And that is Master of Kung Fu Volume 2, by the way.
Yeah, if you couldn't see it on the screen, yeah.
Yep.
Sorry for those at home or just on audio. Then I found the Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 3, which I also lost.
Nice.
So I went online because I want to see, well, does DC service some of this stuff? And I guess some of these are out of print and they're not really readily available anymore. So I bought this as well. And this is all the classic, like late Silver Age, like the Stone Tablet saga we discussed with Dan Gavazin when we did one of our micro spotlights. These are some of the greatest Spider-Man stories of all time, basically. Issues 68 through 104. So I was thrilled to get this back in my library. And Shane, this last one's for you. And the Master of Kung Fu, and this new one, I got it half off actually because they were slightly used. I also lost this. I also lost this in the flood, Shane, and when I saw it, I had to replace it immediately. The Justice League International Omnibus,
yes,
which I got for $50.
Nice.
And I was telling Shane that I've read some of these stories, but not all of them, and they're all here. I'm looking for, and it was this book was lost in the flood, so I'm looking forward to cracking this open.
Nice.
And reading through that. So it was great to go to Eide's. As always, great to see Ken. Great to see my dear friend Dan, Danny boy. Again, sending my love to you. And got some great stuff there, including their new shirt.
Nice.
So and Ken said, I know you're on that Geek Speak show, so here's a free shirt. Wear it on the air. And
well, I'm honestly glad more than anything else that it's thriving and that it's
yeah.
well. So yep,
Yeah.
that's absolutely the case. Happy to hear it. All right, it looks like Chris just froze on it. There we go. Yep,
no, I'm here. Yep, sorry about that.
no worries. Yep, yeah, but happy you had a good time on a friendly excursion.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, that it, or did we shot our bolt?
That's it.
I think we've shot our bolt.
Excellent. Well, this was almost a cornucopia of comics conversation level good time here, gentlemen. This was good to get the whole gang on here, and
Absolutely.
We'll be back in a few weeks to discuss a certain Night of the Moon and all that jazz.
Shane, did you get the latest back issue?
I didn't get it yet. It should be in a shipment.
The Starman retrospective. Come on,
It should be in my shipment.
Awesome.
I'm waiting.
Yep.
It's coming.
Oh man. Yep.
I can't wait.
Well, before we wrap up, yet again, a reminder and a thank you to Mr. Sean Wheatley, Left Coast Love, for sponsoring this episode. Please head to his Whatnot page as his next auction is on May 2nd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. He'll have a whole bunch of books available, reader copies for people to enjoy, bundles, collections, like the whole shebang. And once again, whatnot.com. You can search for Left Coast Love on there or Sean Wheatley, and it'll pop up, and we'll make sure to link to it in the show notes and on the supergroup and all that fun stuff. And of course, once again, thank you all at the Patreon at patreon.com.
Yes.
Comic Geek Speak. And there is, once again, an option to donate to the show on the Comic Geek Speak website as well. So comicgeekspeak.com/donate.php is up and running. If you just want to give a single donation, or you're not on Patreon, or just tell a friend, tell a buddy, tell an hombre, tell a compadre all about us. And I don't know why I started speaking Spanish, but either way, thank you very much for your kind support of the show in any way, shape, or form. And I would like to thank Shane for his kind support of the show to end us out here. But once again, Kevin and Matt, thanks for coming on, guys. It's,
good to see you, gentlemen. Good
Yeah,
to see you.
good to catch up.
Great to be part. Thank you much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And Shane, over to you.
All right. Visit us at comicgeekspeak.com to send us an email. The address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. To leave a voicemail, the number is 267-702-6642. Stop by thecomicforums.vanillacommunity.com. Seek us out on youtube.com/comicgeekspeak. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Thanks to everyone who contributes to the episodes. Send in some Muddle the Murds. That was a great one today. My God, I would not have been able to answer almost none of that, and I couldn't. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
Will you work? Come on, damn you. Let's see. And Godzuki.
That was going through my head.
Job well done,
Better than
Jen.
Scrappy Doo, I'll tell you that.